3. I want you to remember that number as I tell my story. It was April of 2020 when I was working as an RN on an outpatient observation unit, and I got a message on a Friday night that I would be, I guess, meant to go to the COVID unit or transfer to the COVID unit for that weekend. And I thought about that call to rise long before I received that message. COVID-19 was in, the news. It was a news staple, as was the sentiment that healthcare heroes on the front lines were heroes. That word, heroes, it weighed so heavy on my shoulders, yet I wanted to rise to that ideal, but I was so scared. But I realized that fear and love are one and the same. They can either bend you and make you weak, or they can make you strong and move you forward. I chose the latter. Number 3. I walked through the anteroom, the air-controlled anteroom, onto the COVID unit, and I found myself surrounded by a sea of seal blue nursing scrubs. I was greeted kindly and escorted off and shown where to put on my own scrubs and where to get my own PPE. And soon I returned to that sea as a piece of it rather than just an onlooker. Number 3. I got my patient assignment and I realized very quickly one-to-one patient care on a COVID floor takes a lot of time. I would spend an hour or more in a patient's room before I would find myself in the hallway again. And one time I came out in the hallway and I saw a small cluster of nurses talking, and I knew immediately what they were talking about. Someone was dying on the other side of that hall of COVID-19. So I listened and I watched. I was drawn to that dance, the dance I think every nurse knows. When that last song is played, we move silently and we move intentionally, all taking a turn. And I saw one sea of blue hero replacing another in and out of that room. And I just kept watch. I returned to my task, but I never lost sight of that room on the other side of the hall. I guess I was waiting for my turn. I was waiting for my turn to join that dance. When that patient's nurse, the primary nurse, actually got an admission, I noticed that and I thought, this is my time. So I put on my PPE and I put on my protective gear and I opened that door and I shut it behind me. And I remember looking at the door before I turned to see the man in the bed. And I could tell he was struggling to breathe as the sheet rose because his lungs and his stomach were pushing forward in a way that was not natural, wasn't how you and I breathe. He was struggling. And I went down, I grabbed a chair and I sat down beside him. And I remember brushing his hair across his forehead. I looked at his name band, only remembering his first name. And I held his hand. And I said the Lord's Prayer. I think I made small talk with him. I asked him if he had pets, and I knew he couldn't respond to me, but I know hearing is the last sense to go. So I spoke to him like I would speak to someone I loved. I told him I was there, and I think I sat for a long time before I finally said to him, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't fix this. I was so sorry that he had to meet God in this sterile room. But I told him I was here and that when he saw that light, he should go towards it. So I took my turn. I came out and I went about the tasks that I had left. but that it changed me. I think it changed me for a lot of reasons, but I bought a newspaper every single day that week, and I thought I need to find this man. I need to know, who did he love? Did he have family? Where did he go to school? I needed to know more. And after a week of buying newspapers, I ran into his primary nurse, and I said to her, I said, I didn't see so-and-so's obituary, and I was wondering why. And she looked at me, and she said, well, he's a ward of the state. He's from a nursing home. So I knew he was from a nursing home, and being a ward of a state essentially means that family either cannot provide care or care was taken from them, so it was relinquished to the state. So he wouldn't have an obituary. He wouldn't have a funeral. He wouldn't have any of the things we would want for someone we cared about. And it was heartbreaking. So I wrote about that, and I posted it on social media. I'm a writer, so it's just natural for me to just put down all my feelings. And a professor that I had in nursing school saw it, and together we put together an article because she loved what I wrote and it inspired her. And we were published in Nursing 2020 in the December issue. And it just caught on like wildfire. All of a sudden, I told somebody at work, and all of a sudden my CNO knows, and now my CEO is reading what I wrote about that patient at an open board meeting. And I thought, this is incredible. And then I get a phone call from a local newscaster from a local station asking if she could meet me. She wanted to talk to me about what I had written about this man. And in that moment, I realized all of this. It was done intentionally. I was meant to enter that room. I was meant to sit at that man's bedside because maybe God wanted him to be remembered. And although I will remember him forever, everybody I've shared his story with, it goes on and on and on. So now he will be remembered, hopefully as long as he's worthy of. In April of 2020, a man died of COVID-19. He died in room number 3, and his name was Keith.